before I didn't want to put it on, and then we were discussing Kurt's Kids. So
I'll stop now. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't necessarily want to broadcast that. If you want to include
No.
it, but I'm not going to, if you see what I mean.
I still might put that on Facebook, but that's still fairly private audience.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's intentionally why I didn't press the button.
Oh, cool.
I just always assume when I join that it's live.
No, it says in the corner.
Yeah, there should be for me, there's a start and stop broadcast, and if you look at sort of bottom center, there should be a live thing. So,
I mean, I would see that if I wasn't at the moment pulling boss. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're the worst.
I look, once I've done this dungeon, I'm off it.
How long have you got?
First boss.
Off?
4 bosses.
8.
4 bosses. I'm dying. Heal. Where's the healer?
Tank faster.
I'm tanking. I don't have DPS.
Tank more intensely.
I'm terrible at tanking.
Right. So, what I thought we'd do for this episode is go through the new battle engines.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Because everyone and their dog has done week 1. So if we do week 2, that gives us something different to talk about.
Has anyone seen the new artwork in the Retribution book that was posted to the Rec group? No. Really weird change in art direction.
Ooh, okay.
Like some of it's good, a lot of it's bad. Like Silas and Ran both look like, I can't remember what somebody said, but they look like manic Batman-esque villains. It looked really weird. Didn't like the art style at all in the books, because
the rest are not meant to be a pleasant faction bench.
No, but they had the anime aesthetic for a hell of a long time, and now God knows what this aesthetic is.
Please just call them the iPod elves.
Yeah. Well,
it took me a while to get why they were called the iPod elves. An embarrassingly long time, in fact.
Yeah, me too.
Just the same design aesthetic.
No, not even that. It's from they're from the land of Ios.
Oh yeah,
that too. They are the iPod elves. Yeah, but you know that they've been doing new art in a lot of the books, and a lot of it looks very good now. You know, updating of Mark 1 artwork.
I'm conflicted on that. Some Mark 1 artwork is meh. Some of it I really want back.
The Irisk one that they improved was a lot better.
I am just going to go with still my favourite piece of, my second favourite piece of War Machine artwork is the Brian Snoddy Nomad.
Oh, yeah.
One where it's kind of clambering up over a ridge. It's kind of ditched its shield. And
I can't really think of like a lot of the... I know everybody else disagrees with me, but I really didn't like the Apotheosis artwork. That wasn't that great.
Yeah, I really did. You know, I was ready to contradict you there and say that I agree with you, but no, I really liked Apotheosis.
Was Apotheosis the big book?
Yeah, the big book with the big overdone pictures and over dramatic stuff and very Romano art.
I did like the cover art of that one.
What I do like, having now seen the new Behemoth in the flesh, it does look like the artwork from that book now. It's really nice.
The Behemoth always annoyed me because I looked through the Cadre book and went, wow, that's a towering monument of steel. And then you got the model and went, it's basically a slightly bigger Warjack.
Did somebody wash the bottom half of it too hot? Yeah.
It's just,
I actually,
legs,
it doesn't look like the old picture because the old picture of the Behemoth was still very top heavy. In this one, they have managed to actually create a Warjack that doesn't look like it will snap at the waist, basically.
Yeah. I haven't gone and got the book out again to refresh myself, but from memory, the perspective is looking down on it, so the legs were further away, kind of thing. In the original artwork, it always had that kind of very broad shoulders. I agree, but for me, it's truer to the size and scale of it, at least.
I wish they'd have revisited Sorsha, because there's some much better artwork of her from the video game that they did. They did some fantastic concept work for her.
I still think the best piece of artwork of her is, I think she's either in the white costume, which is similar to one where she's in the white costume, where she's doing that sort of forward point motion and she's got a destroyer just behind her.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
They actually copied it for the trailer for the video game.
Yes.
Like an iconic image of her. I always did like that piece.
There was also some striker concept art of how buff he actually is. That was for the video game as well. They were doing like...
To be fair, to swing something like Quicksilver, you'd have to be pretty manly.
He is pretty buff. I think him and Siege are definitely on the same buffness level. They go to the same gym.
No. Siege would have to be like 3 levels above. Siege is...
Well, now with the new command book with him in the background, you can tell that he's a bit more of a substantial man. You really didn't have much scale of him in the other artwork.
Yeah, in the artwork, yeah, but just having listened about him in what's the name of the book? Blood of Kings. It always gives you this impression that he's big.
Strakov's new artwork was very good as well for the.
So this is the problem. I haven't got any of the command books, and I'll be honest, with War Room, I have no incentive to.
I bought the Troll one. That's it.
I mean, how are you finding the new command books?
I like the Troll one because it had troll things in it, and I'm likely to get have we got the command books? Or have we got the faction books? We've got the army books, haven't we, or whatever they're called?
The command books are the main books.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like faction rundown.
Yeah, what you have
there's not much in it that you haven't already got or haven't already seen.
Pretty much.
I liked having it because it's trolls, but I wouldn't buy any others. I'd only buy one. And I'll probably buy the other book when it comes out for trolls as well, but only trolls. I might play other things, but I won't buy books for anything else.
Yeah,
I like how he talks about the command structures and all the different divisions and variants, but that was in the old books as well. But
Cadre one went very much into the military structure of Cadre. Because you got that whole thing of, what was it, the hammer, the anvil, and what was the third one?
Fuck.
The hammer and the anvil.
There was another one. There was the forge. The forge.
The forge. You got that whole thing, and then you got the different structures of divisions. And then you went over to Signar, and it was like you got the multiple armies, and then the one that was a bit naff, and
then the navy, which didn't really fit any aesthetic at all. Which is kind of funny because you had the hammer, the anvil, the forge, the navy.
To be fair, Cadre's navy was meh. It's known to be a bit meh, which is the problem. Someone was suggesting that at some point PP should do a naval game, which
I'd rather they did.
Interesting. But
D6 is an exploding D6 based system.
That could be revised every 6 weeks. CID.
Can't people just play Dystopian Wars if they want that?
Yeah, or I was thinking of the predecessor, but that same concept, isn't it?
What was the predecessor?
Uncharted Seas.
There's Firestorm Armada and there's
Uncharted Seas was the first one. Yeah, it was the one I own. I still own some Dragon Lords.
I have Shadow Mages.
Oh.
So Dark Dwarves.
I got Dark Elves with the dragon winged ships and stuff. They're really cool. It was fun at the time, but it wasn't expensive, so
Yeah. Oh, it was just a cheap starter box.
And on general cost of things, my biggest I look at privateer press stuff now and I go, I don't want to buy anything now. My spending on PP is stalled entirely. Spending on wargaming is stalled. My wargaming budget is all going on bike stuff at the moment, really. It's all going on cycling and clothes.
The thing for me is that I've got pretty much all of Mercs other than the Cephalics, and I don't intend to buy them. But
if I didn't know you and didn't talk as much as we do Twitter, at least if nothing else, then I probably would be looking more back into Mercs. But I almost get my Merc fix from you.
Yeah,
because I like Mercs. I like Mercs a lot and always have.
Oh, I love the Mercs, but we're not getting anything for over a year now.
Right,
and that's it. We've just been told that we've got no command book, so we've got no new models coming from that. Where we've got a dual faction caster from Signar who doesn't work in Mercs and never will work in Mercs until they give us, well, some cheap range jacks. Which they're not going to because
the irony of that statement is that's the character that will make me play Mercs.
It's so frustrating at the moment because
that's what I wanted him to be. That's what I wanted Kane 2 to be.
Yeah. But everyone else gets new toys, Mercs don't.
Trolls get fuckloads, yeah.
Kind of sucks.
Trolls get 3 gargantuans.
Yeah, but you're the most stable faction at the moment.
True.
Live with that. That's
the problem is that the meta that I've seen is starting to squeeze Mercs a bit. They're still in a good position because they started out very strong. But it's shifting against them ever so slightly now. They're still up there, but not as good as they were.
I think they will. I think there is no choice for them to gradually slide downwards.
Yeah, I can't.
As they address other armies, as trolls get attention and get a bit here and there, and other armies get a bit here and there. I could imagine Mercs gradually slipping down, not noticeably over maybe a year and a half, but they'll gradually slip down, which is.
Well, I've got armies that I need to try out that I think will help with what I'm doing because I can't put Ashlyn on the table at the moment. It's just that's the thing that's doing my head in the most. I cannot, as far as I can see, take Ashlyn to a tournament and do anything with her, which is pissing me off. But Magnus 2, yeah, I can work with him, with Bane. Damiano, fine. Almost any of the pirate casters. I do still think Fiona just needs nuking and reworking from the ground up.
I always used to like her, but I haven't played her in Mark 3 or barely Mark 2.
She's such a collection of bits that don't really work together.
I used to love her. I played her. I couldn't work her out when she first came out, so I made myself play her a lot when I was playing a lot of Mercs, and I played her a lot. Took her to some events and things as well.
I think if you're willing to put the time in with her, you could probably get to a level where she's okay, but just looking on the face of her, there's nothing exciting or interesting that other casters don't do better.
Right.
Which just makes me sad.
I messaged Alex. I'm guessing you messaged Alex and I've heard nothing.
No, I've heard nothing. So
he's probably out.
He's probably forgotten.
Right, I'll take a drink and then we'll start 22 and.
We don't have to keep it long, I guess, tonight, do we? Then, if there's only.
Yeah, we always say that and end up going to midnight anyway.
Yes. Although it's Saturday night and midnight, it's not late on Saturday, is it? It's not working tomorrow.
It is true. I'm just tired.
It's not a work night.
I'll just get woken up by children instead. But we generally have rules around not coming in my bedroom until 8 o'clock on the weekend, so that's good.
I just haven't been sleeping because I've had a chest infection.
Oh.
My youngest had tonsillitis. She had fever over 103 for 4 nights last weekend.
I ain't got tonsils.
Nor have I.
It's a wonderful thing. Really is, actually.
Yeah, mine came. I had mine out when I was 5.
Yeah, same here. I used to get sick all the fucking time.
I was a very sickly child. Yes, I was.
I used to be skinny because of my tonsils. Should have kept them. So ill all the time. I never ate.
I find that I've got skinny again through frightening amounts of exercise.
Yeah, I know that. Well, I wish I could have your endorphins.
Yeah, they're helping me. My mental health is so much better. Just everything so much better.
Mine is lethargy is not making mine any better.
I'm finding that getting out my bike, did 36 miles on, what day was that? Thursday. Did 40 miles last Saturday. Really now doing serious miles, really enjoying it, and it's making everything so much better, so much more positive at work and everything. It's bizarre. It's really good.
Well, before this turns into a joke, I took a long walk.
Off a short walk.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But I was like a colleague at work has just started saying, let's go for sort of long walks down by the river in Oxford. And I was just starting to do that. I was feeling pretty good. had a light lunch and everything, and then I just woke up on Thursday and I just went, this is a chest infection that's been here for a week and it's just making me feel, and then I just died. Like, just no. Just no.
Have you been and got some antibiotics for it?
No, I've had it over a week, so it's probably a bit too late for that. I've had antibiotics not too long ago, so
Benj.
yeah.
Pressed face.
It's all right. Cold and flu did everything.
I think in the words of Dave this morning on Twitter, man up.
I know. I've got a doctor's appointment anyway on the 10th, so they're booking like a month in advance, so the chance of me even getting an emergency one is like bit. So.
Yeah, then go and see the out of hours GP at your local hospital.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not going. I'm not going. What is my local hospital now? I've moved. What is it?
See, Ben, this is the problem. You're just not prepared.
Walk into a minor injuries unit. That might help.
Yeah,
that's an option as well.
That's a pretty good one.
Not really. It's not entirely what it's there for, but it would work.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll be fine. It was just. I think I've been having it for a while, and I think it's coming to an end because I think I've had it over a couple of weeks because it started off as a cold, and then I went back to work and I felt just a bit. Just never mind. Doesn't matter.
You are the worst. You are the reason people like me have problems in the workplace.
What? Why?
People like you go in with chest infections and whatever. They transfer over to other people like me. And
I work from home. I stay out of it.
There's such a stigma about like colds and like going into work because half the people go, "Oh, you should man up," and then the other half are like. And the other half are like, get away from me, you germ bag. It's the fucking ground zero of disease, yeah?
As someone who a chest infection could legitimately kill, I would really rather you stayed away from work. Because being an asthmatic, chest infections, really dodgy every single time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So,
if I have the cold where I really don't like to go to work, I just change my plans and work from home. But I'm in a fortunate position of being able to do that with my job. I'm going, I'll cancel this meeting, I'll phone into it, I'll do this and shit.
Work from home is amazing.
It is. You're like, not even calling in sick. I'm not even calling in sick. I'm working from home.
Yeah.
Why? Because I feel like crap. Moving on. I'm not taking a sick day. I'm working from home.
Yeah. I've done that before.
And the incoming is much less because you just don't start off. I could take sick instead if you like. Oh, no, you're fine.
Should we get cracking then?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Let me bring up my PDF again. It's gone.
I'm sorry about investment.
But yeah, the command books, not really worth it.
We could talk about them. We could talk about the thing too.
New artwork, if you're into that, yeah, which I kind of am.
Yeah, me too.
Hello and welcome to Elite Cadre, the Hordes of War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I'm Mike.
Oh, he's not here. Oh, sorry.
It's your go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was waiting for the interruption and everything. I'm Kurt.
And I'm Benj.
Yeah, you are the brothers Hanson. There we go.
Oh, no. Don't start. I'm wishing I interrupted you now.
Are you little and large or cannon and ball? I'm not quite sure.
I'm definitely the ball. Literally. I'm
setting fire to your front door is what I'm doing.
Oh, my Lord.
That sounds needlessly violent, but okay.
After your comment, I don't think so. Moving on.
Yes, quite. We are back again for another run at this old podcast thing. And PP seem determined to give us a decent amount of new content every time by putting more things into CID.
Yay.
Don't everybody celebrate at once.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have skipped a little bit forward. We're not going to look at the first week of the battle engines. We're not going to look at Steamroller this week either because there's a whole different brouhaha over that, and that's still another 2 months away. 2 months of internal playtesting away from hitting anyone's table. What we're going to do is look at week 2 of the battle engines. which should be nice because out of interest, how much have you guys seen the battle engines in Mark III so far?
I've used mine a little bit actually. So I was doing range jank.
Which one was that, or which ones? Or...
The Arcantric Force Generator. I was using it in some sort of jank lists with Raven for snipe possibilities plus the +2 range on a Hyperion. So taking a Hyperion to range 18 on its big gun.
Wow, nice.
I think, yeah, and the knockdown cannon. I was enjoying it as it was, and since mine has changed very little since the thing, I know some people don't like it, but Carapace.
We'll get to that. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that. But it was more sort of how many have you seen on the table out of kind of all your games?
None.
So far?
Short answer, none. I don't think I've seen any yet at all.
On carriage when Butcher could abuse it, and that's it.
Now, I've seen the gun carriage in a ranged. I want to say Vlad 1 list, which was frankly slightly crazy.
I mean, I've talked to people in the troll groups and forums, and the Trollblood Scrum guys are still quite keen on the War Wagon because of its repositioned, because of its maneuverability. Not quite as tanky as you might like it to be, but we'll get onto that, obviously. But no, I haven't seen any in Mark III yet at all. But the War Wagon has a lot of it looks nice. It's a really nice model. It's very trolley, so people do kind of throw it on the table, but not visibly, not that I've actually seen.
Well, I think overall, and what that really speaks to, just from anecdotal evidence, is the fact that we're not actually seeing a lot of these things in the wild. So PP have decided, let's go back to the drawing board and figure out why people aren't taking them and put them in a position where they are useful.
I think the shortest answer to that is that where a lot of War Beasts and Warjacks have got comparatively cheaper into Mark III, the battle engines haven't. So you're paying the same as a heavy and getting something that falls over a lot more easily than anybody's heavies, even the lightest ones.
Yeah.
I think that's the really simplistic answer to the question is they're as well armored and protected as a light, but it costs like same as a heavy, and you can't hide them. So
yeah,
and when the baseline heavies, have been reduced, and they have more utility, you're going to take a heavy over one. So
yeah, I mean certainly for Mercs, the difference between an 11-point Nomad and a 19-point battle engine.
That's quite an extreme comparison. That's amazing. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, Cadre's got the same. You can have a Juggernaut for 12 or a gun carriage for 18, 19 points.
Don't tell me these things. I don't want to know how cheap people's heavies get. I don't want to know. I don't look it up anymore. It makes me sad.
Also, they're always going to be expensive.
Oh,
there'll probably be a revision on that at some point, I'd guess, but we'll see. So I think that the first thing to say is that pretty much all of these have had pretty big increases in boxes. There are exceptions.
Even the exceptions are fairly sizable, just not as much. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're talking going from the first example. If we look at the Storm Strider, because I've cut that on my iPad here, like I'm organised, or doing a good impression of someone who's organised. You're going from 22 boxes up to 30.
Okay.
Basic stat lines staying the same. But 8 extra boxes, that's an extra 1-2 hits at armor 19.
Yeah.
Unless someone piles in a heavy with like multiple focus on it and just
if you commit to killing it like you commit to killing a heavy, then it's going to die. But it now doesn't die like a light.
Well, armor 19, 30 boxes is pretty much a Signal heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stick Arcane Shield on there and with Repulsor Field, suddenly it becomes rather awkward to take out.
And you don't have to worry about systems.
No, that is absolutely true. Flip side, most of them can't boost. So anyway. So up first we have the Storm Strider. the first thing is that it's lost kinetic accumulator, which is how it gained its power tokens originally, where it had to be hit by melee or ranged attacks. Now that's completely changed for build-up power, which means whenever it advances, it gains D3 power tokens that it can use to boost attack or damage rolls, which is pretty good.
It says it has to, it does say it has to advance, so a movement of 0 is not advancing. Or is it? Oh, if you stand still if you stand still and aim, you don't.
If you declared it to be a 0-inch advance, because I think the
assumption
now for the judge
aiming, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, the assumption now for the judge document is if the model doesn't move, that it is sacrificing its movement. However, if you declared a 0-inch advance, then it gets very awkward. And to be honest, you wouldn't aim with this anymore because you're getting D3 power tokens, which means rather than +2 for aiming, you're getting an extra D6, which is, well, most of the time a lot better. It's gained conductor as well, so it can be part of the surge and triangulation storm calls.
I thought that was going to mean something else, but obviously not.
No. It keeps superconduction, keeps repulsor field. So rules-wise, yeah, I'm pretty safe in saying that it's just better.
It's had little tweaks, hasn't it? It's not had a massive damage increase, but a bit, and it's had a little tweak. And I think build-up power is better than the accumulator. I think that was a bit annoying before, but it's a bit more aggressive now in some respects because you move up the field and you're gaining power tokens that you can use to boost. So it's pretty nasty for 18 points. Yeah.
As well as that, what have we got? We've got the lightning cannon is unchanged. So still crit disruption, still damage type electricity.
I'm going to trust that you've got Warham open at the same time as PDF for that because I haven't.
Yeah, I'm having a flick between the two, and it's kind of. And the stomp is also unchanged. I didn't realize the stomp had lightning generator on originally. That's kind of sickening.
No, I didn't either.
And of course, with dual attack, it can just come in, stamp on your head, and still fire.
Face.
Which is actually even better now because you couldn't gain the aiming bonus while engaged, and now it just I'll move 0 inches, gain some power tokens, and still smash your face in. So
nice.
Yeah, Benj, I think are you the person who's most recently played Signar here?
No, I haven't played Signar in Whole of Mark 3 yet. I want to, but time.
What do you think of the changes that have been made overall then? Because we like to hear all voices on this show. The
Storm Strider mainly doesn't get seen from my point of view, just for its aesthetic, because it's really odd. But I might consider converting one and sticking some legs on it and maybe using it for that because
it's already got 4 legs.
Yeah, I thought that.
2 legs, so it doesn't look too silly.
It's fine. It looks fine, honestly.
It doesn't. It looks like War of the Worlds. I hate War of the Worlds. It's fine.
Why do you hate what? Anyway,
I'm sorry. Whoa. You hate War of the Worlds?
No, I hate the robots from War of the Worlds. Apart from the Tom Cruise remake, I kind of like them.
I prefer the remake. That's so good. Fight.
I'm terrible. Literally, I have to keep up this horrible.
I sit in the middle. I don't hate the Tom Cruise remake as a whole, but I prefer the original Walkers.
Yeah,
I quite like the remake as a film.
I played the video game of the Walkers, and do you remember the really old video game?
No.
Okay, there was a really old video game.
You're clearly older than all of us.
I'm not
combined.
I just feel it.
But you're going to tell me next that you don't like listening to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds.
No, I like listening to it.
Okay, you may yet survive.
But when I played Signar back in the day, I wasn't one for all the lightning, really. So I never got aboard the pony train. I only had 1 unit of Storm Lancers. But okay. I think
from my point of view, that what this model's doing, they've certainly made its range potential a little bit better, because obviously now it's got build-up power. They've certainly made it more hardy. I think they couldn't really add too much more to it, otherwise with repulsor field, it might get very obnoxious.
I think it would have got expensive. If you add anything to it, it would have got expensive.
Yeah. It's got a good gun, and if you make that gun more easily boostable, that's pretty neat.
It's got a lot of options for. It is just a large target in itself as well.
Yeah.
But, and if somebody wants to dedicate the resources into killing it, it's going to become more of a piece to kill, and a consideration. So
you're gonna have to do some setup if you want to kill that with a heavy. You're gonna have to run that one guy in and then do a diagonal charge with the jack, so that when you get pushed back, you're kind of locked in combat.
But I've seen people do that because the new Helios, as soon as you tell someone it's got poltergeist or anything like that, they start doing their old machinations to stop it going a certain amount of distance so that they can still engage, or it's a one with reach and it doesn't really matter that much because its initial hit does so much fucking damage.
You sound like speaking from experience, Benj.
No. He killed it with infantry, and he did do the jamming thing. It was very clever.
I
wish I hadn't told him it had poltergeist before he did it all. Open information game and all that, but just keep those cards close to you.
Okay. So generally, Stormstrider, good positive improvements.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the second of the reworked battle engines. So this would be the Vessel of Judgment.
Ooh.
Yes. Stat line is still the same. Actually,
I couldn't see much difference. I was looking at it before. I'm reading down it, going, it's got more boxes.
Yeah.
But I apparently something's highlighted that says it's different, but I haven't played it in ages.
Well, it's gained 7 boxes because it used to be. Oh, hang on, no, sorry. It used to be 24, so it's actually gained 8 boxes.
8. Okay.
I thought that was a complete 5 on the card, but actually that's going to be interesting. How are they going to fit that many boxes in? They have to really squash them up.
2 rows.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I'm sorry. 2 rows.
Same number of points. Still Construct, Gunfighter, Immunity Fire, Pathfinder. Yep. Still got Destructive Power.
Yeah.
I believe some of the actual Holy Reliquary stuff.
Well, Cleansing Aura is highlighted, which implies it's different, but I can't tell what's different. And Doors of Judgment is also highlighted, and again, it looks the same.
If something's highlighted, that just means it's changed from week 1.
Oh.
So
okay.
The whole thing might have changed since it's.
Cleansing Aura does not remove friendly upkeeps, only removes continuous effects from friendlies. Doors of Judgment changed to destroyed. Okay.
Yeah,
so instead of disabled.
The original Cleansing Aura could be used once per activation. When it was used, animal and continuous effects on models units in its command range immediately expired. The new Cleansing Aura
pretty much the same.
is just enemy models and
enemy upkeep spells on models units in this command range expire.
Yeah.
Does anyone feel that
you can now pay to keep the upkeeps in effect by taking D3 damage? That's new.
Spellcasting keep any of its upkeeps in play, but that's new. Yeah, that's different from what previous. Yeah.
How often though does cleansing come into effect? Because generally the model's usually dead because it's usually fire, and that's the. Yeah, how often does that actually get used these days?
To be fair, if you're playing Morgul 2, it's really useful.
You'll have to explain.
You use the pulse and it gets rid of blind on all your trooper models.
Oh, that
pretty good anti-crits for getting rid of crits. Sorsha
versus Denny 2.
Oh, wait. Okay.
You can basically turn off Denny 2's feet, if I remember correctly, because Shadowbind is
shakeable, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, I will have to check that one.
It's good for the debuffs. It's good for crippling grasp. Getting
Yeah.
shot of those kind of things. That's what it's really good for.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought it's so continuous effects from spells, or from I thought things like fire
Enemy
and
upkeeps
corrosion.
and anime. Enemy upkeeps
and
and
anime.
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 Our models units in this command range means expire.
We must cleanse all the anime.
We must cleanse all the anime.
It's an anti-weeaboo weapon. Okay.
Actually, no. Blind is just shakeable, so it is just continuous corrosion, fire.
Continuous
Oh, it
corrosion.
wouldn't even, actually, going by the wording of this, it wouldn't even shake stationary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
I don't see the point in it anymore, because things die to fire, die to corrosion, generally before you can use these effects and auras.
But it does get rid of potentially debuff spells. So
yeah,
that's fine. But again, I forgot about that aspect. But again, the unit's definitely dead usually if it's had some crippling grasp or something on it.
Yeah,
potentially.
Right. So we got Doors of Judgment, which has also changed. So that used to be once per turn when it was a disabled model, a disabled friendly faction warrior model. You could basically get them to make a full advance and one basic attack, and they were then RFP'd.
Destroyed. Okay.
It used to be very good with errants.
Yeah, it's now changed to destroyed.
So how does that affect the interaction then? Because
it just means they're not RFP'd. So, for instance, someone they can be brought back with feats.
Yeah.
Oh, can it be brought back from Martyr then, potentially, as well?
No, because Martin's on disabled, isn't it?
I can't remember.
Do you want me to check that one for you, Ben?
No, because I'm not playing Harvey for any time soon.
Because you were so sad about her nerfing.
And I don't own an organ either.
Martyrdom is on disabled.
I own the organ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, the Vessel of Judgment, because I really liked the look of it when it first came out.
Oh, you used to dabble, didn't you?
I have a truckload of Menos.
Oh.
It's my second faction by a country mile.
Eruption of Faith is pretty much the same.
Yes.
And I think the gun is actually largely the same. I think I have heard from people that this is one of the least changed battle engines. They've basically just given it more hitboxes and clarified some rules.
I'd still argue that those are some changes that are useful. The boxes, definitely.
Well, certainly on the Vessel of Judgment, because you're talking about something that's got to use its health to use its miracles.
Mm.
So giving it more boxes just gives it a few more chances to use Doors of Judgment and boost its attack and damage rolls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's working. I think that the only thing there is adding the D3 to prevent stuff being dispelled is potentially awkward. But then again, I think Menot's got a couple of ways of stripping upkeeps, hasn't it?
And depending on the caster and other things, yeah.
Rehoven.
And purification, that Menot spell.
There's quite a lot of things in which casters done it as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to one that's become somewhat controversial this week with the gun carriage. So, I believe once again the stat line remains unchanged.
Yeah,
that does. We're up to 38 boxes from. Ooh, crikey! Up to
22?
38 boxes from 24.
Yeah.
So that's 14 boxes.
Hard.
Yeah. Still Construct Pathfinder. Still dual attack. Still got reposition 3 because it's actually lost the cavalry. Oh no, sorry, it's still got the cavalry, but because reposition has replaced what was that thing we used to do in Mark II with cavalry?
Follow on, ride-by attacks.
Thank you.
Ride-by, yeah.
Could it trample before?
It could. It's actually lost trample and gained line breaker.
Yeah. So I noticed that from. We'll come on to later. It's the same.
Which, well, it's all part of something that PP have put forth their design ethos for most of the battle engines, and they've said they want the Cadre gun carriage to be right up there on the front lines, smashing through the front lines so that the other troops can follow on behind in its wake, and giving it line breaker. I mean, you're getting impact attacks off a 5-inch base.
Yep.
And they're all boosted to hit.
Yep.
And you can basically cannon people in the face at point blank range as well.
Yeah.
Or shoot over them if the big thing's behind are bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the big thing, though. The heavy cannon have changed from range 12 to range 8.
8. Wow.
Which really does encourage that. You've got to be in the face.
I like that. Because it removes the idea of hanging it around and having it, like, basically you're getting a bit worried about sticking it in, and don't you, and instead you're just ramming it down someone's face.
Yeah. Or 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, or 2 of that. Oh, well, yeah. Or just FAU, aren't they?
2.
FA2.
Oh, damn. Should be
all of them FA2. Yeah. No, 2's good. Do want more 2. 2's fine.
3.
So,
4.
other than that, it remains unchanged.
Yes.
Still got the crater rules on the cannon. Still got momentum on the mount. So if something does survive the impact attack, you're slamming it D3 away.
Wow.
Which is just bonkers.
And knockdown, so you can shoot it. Excellent.
Yeah. Still got trampling hooves as well, so it can make charge attacks in addition to impact. So I think for 18 points, and with a slight redefinition of the role, and gaining that many damage boxes, I don't think there's too much to complain about there.
No, I agree. It's really nice. It's really, and you, especially when you start comparing it again, go back to the heavies you're comparing it with, suddenly it's in there, it's competitive, it's competing for the space.
Yeah, it's doing something slightly different. I mean, because that's 18 points, and that's okay. That's 4 points more than a destroyer, but you're getting 2 shots a turn. You're getting 4 more boxes, higher rat, and it's getting automatically boosted rolls if it charges in.
And it destroys gash anyway.
14 points, they're not.
What? A destroyer? Really? No.
Range 14, power 14, AoE 4, bench.
Rat 4?
Yeah, but you boost a hit.
Yeah, but you miss.
You miss.
Scatters and you've just...
Oh, you're just so sad about this.
I just never liked destroyers. They were just so pants.
They're better in Mark III, being the equivalent of 7 points rather than 9.
I think everything in that role's got better. The bombers are so much better in a similar role. Yes, they're more expensive, but they also shoot twice and they can boost a hell of a lot more. So, yeah.
In War Machine, range jacks have become bonkers because they're getting that focus to boost to hit every single time. And the change that makes overall.
I think ranged heavies across the board all got better, and it took us all a while to see that, but they have. They're all so much more. They're so much better.
Yeah. Okay. So gun carriage, largely positive.
Shiny.
I'd play it.
Yeah.
If only it was in trials. Was that convincing? Was that convincing? I think that was convincing. Moving on.
We'll skip over the Banes and whatnot because
because they're cricks And we don't like cricks. Writing complaint, please.
I don't want to go into that. So next
James
up,
Brown. Actually, just James Brown writing complaint. There you go. Moving on.
Next up, we have the Wraith engine.
And get out of my garden.
Why is he in your garden?
Oh, that's an old in joke.
It's an old in joke. I thought I'd
fine.
Yep. So, Wraith engine. Stat line is unchanged again. I think that's pretty much the case for all of them. Point cost, same. Damage.
Got up very slightly.
Yep, up from 2024. Still construct, incorporeal, and undead. Still got cleave. Still got dark shroud. Still got inscrutable. Soul bondage has apparently changed.
Soul bondage destroys, but it says destroyed models. It just is removed from play. Does not provide a soul token, so it destroys it. But then it also says the destroyed model is RFP. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I fear that may be something. Yeah. So
some wording to be worked on there, I feel.
Yeah, it's still largely the same. I'm guessing that's just going to mean that it's destroyed and can be returned to play now.
So they'll just delete the last sentence or reword the last sentence, perhaps, because that's effectively still saying RFP, although I don't think it means to.
Pretty much. But the big change is in Unhallowed. So the previous wording was that while in the command range, other friendly faction models with incorporeal gain +2 armor and did not suffer blast damage. This has been altered to while within 8 inches of this model, so it's no longer command range. Friendly faction undead models gain +2 armor against ranged and magic attacks.
That's nice. That's horrible.
Yeah. Because that's going to move quite an awful lot of things from I can easily kill that with blast damage to that's tricky. Or,
because you're going from armor 11 up to 13 or 12 to 14 or there's yeah.
And if you're looking at things like say your brute thralls, they're going up to armor 16 depending on playtest stuff. Even mechanothralls going up to potentially armor 14. They suddenly become a little bit tricky to get rid of.
Bloody mechanothralls.
And if you got an 18-inch aura, don't forget that's effectively 21 inches across in a bubble, because you've got 8 inches out of either side, a 5-inch base.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's a nice change. I think the weapons are pretty much unchanged. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll still complain about it. I'm sure critics will hate it. Moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, I can see what they're doing now. It's right. It's the change to soul bondage will be so that you can use soul bondage to create a machine wraith and still cleave.
Okay.
Because you couldn't originally.
Oh, because you weren't destroying something, therefore it was cleaved in trigger. It was. Okay.
I think that the wording's not quite come through there, so that's an interesting change. Again, not something we'd really seen on the table, but I think when you said a Crix, you can spend 15 points on this large incorporeal model that can now make your entire force tougher.
Yeah.
Including, in many cases, +2 armor on your caster.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it doesn't say
Warcaster.
Lock and Warcaster.
Doesn't. So Denny 2 or 3 would be, yeah.
And actually, it makes their junior that much harder as well.
Wow.
That's got potential. That's
15
got
points
real
is
potential.
expensive Krill. 15 points is expensive Krillstone, though, isn't it? But yeah.
It is true. But you are getting quite a large area of that, and it's fast. incorporeal and can block out zones.
And it's a nicer model than the Creel stone unit.
Just bench there with the little woodpecker of negativity.
He's a lovely model.
That was a gigantic wooden fucking spoon, is what that was. It looks nice as a fuck off.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it is one of the nicest units in Crix, and the rest of the faction's ugly. So.
What, Wraith engine? Okay.
Yeah, I really like the Wraith engine.
It's a decent model.
It confused me when it came out. I was like, what the hell is that? What is it?
So mechanical ghost.
Exactly the reaction you should have to Crix.
What is that, and why am I going to die from it?
Get it the fuck away from it.
Over the hill. Is it a monster?
Is it Matt? It's probably Matt.
Nice.
Okay, so slightly positive for the Wraith engine. It's not a big change, but we'll have to see how that one goes. That's probably one of the more subtle changes so far. Depends on whether Crix want +2 armor. Onto the Arcantric Force Generator. Now, the first thing that's sort of screaming out at me here is that it's gone up to 17 points. So, Benj, you're going to have to redo some army lists.
Oh, by a point. Oh, that's just a soulless you throw away. I mean, you're always a point short these days, and it's always a soulless.
Stat line, it's lost an armor as well.
It's lost an armor, but gained carapace.
Yeah. So. Damage 24, which is exactly where it was before. Construct, Gunfighter, Pathfinder. Yep. Carapace. New thing.
Armor.
This model gains +4 armor against free strike damage rolls and ranged attack damage rolls. Now, given its position as a sort of mid to backline artillery piece, would you say, Benj?
It is. It's a support unit.
That's going to benefit it greatly because it means that it's going to be a lot harder for someone to go, oh, right, I've got a defender on the table. I'm going to shoot your Arcantric Generator off the table.
Because you can see it behind everything.
Yeah. It's effectively a +3 armor buff against those kind of things.
Which when you combine it, I mean, it's not necessarily going to want to be in those lists, but if you can imagine combining that with Helena or any of the, that armor feat that she has, or anybody with like deflection, or it's going to be staying on the table a bit longer. So not necessarily boxers making a difference, but definitely the armor will.
One of the big text rules based change as well, focused power. So now if it uses its movement to aim, it gains +2 to ranged attack damage rolls, that activation.
+2 to hit and +2 damage if it aims. That's nice.
Has it still got +2 range as well?
Range boost to while within 2 inches of this model.
Yeah, so it gains +2, and so does the model next to it as well. So a Hyperion can reach out 16 with its main gun and 18 with its little guns.
Wow.
D3 little guns. And a crit consume at range 16. That's under a sniper caster.
Yeah.
But
and don't forget it with its +2. If it's it also has dual shot was there originally. That's fine.
Dual shot and momentum.
But yeah, so if it sacrifices movement to aim, it's got +2 range. +2
to hit and damage and range and extra shot.
Getting another shot.
Nice.
Yeah, and then when you've got AoE 4 attacks with Blasted Earth, which is the same.
It can go to it's power 16 or power 18 as well, depending on what it takes.
And momentum is still the same. But that is they've made it a better ranged piece.
You can definitely guarantee that solo or something that you need to die is that you can scalp out basically with it. You have to obviously position it with. I mean, I must admit, I can't envisage a list, or unless you get loads of what are the jacks where you basically store power and it increases the damage. What the fuck are they called again?
Manticores?
No, Hydras. Yeah, if you use Hydras I mean, they all have guns, so they're all going to benefit of the Jacks, but I'm mainly seeing it as the colossal booster for, against the anti-infantry list. But there's lots of, I'm sorry.
It's got some interesting stuff.
It's got utility. There are lots of people that still hate it, though. And are still very vocal about it.
Lots of people that hate a potential range 16, POW 18 gun that's RAT 9.
Without anybody boosting it or buffing it before it gets other things added on. Yeah.
And which can slam small and medium bases.
Yeah. And knock down large.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
A lot of people don't like their Warjacks being knocked down, if I'm honest.
It doesn't. The problem is it just doesn't fit into the ADR casters that are currently out there, or the casters that are primarily being used in Retribution in tournament lists. Because, and that's the only beef people have got. So,
but the thing is, once you release more theme forces, and once you kind of you mix up the ADR a bit more, it potentially moves into rotation, and I think that's what this has to do.
No, you're still going to have to cut it out for an extra unit of halberdiers now with that new theme force. Oh, that theme force.
What? Not yet more sentinels.
No. Have you not seen the new theme forces for Retribution?
I haven't gone through the theme forces. No.
All right, that's another podcast.
God.
You can have three units of max strength halberdiers on the mid point line. They get advanced move. You can have them shield walled on the halfway line on turn 1. It's horrible.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly going to be interesting in the new SR. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Okay, so Arcantric Force Generator, again, a little bit of a buff.
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep looking at the next one.
It's all right. It's a short podcast this evening. It's fine.
It hasn't changed. We're going to vote. This one hasn't changed. No one cares anyway.
I don't think the Transfinite Emergence Projector actually has changed.
It's got a silly name. It sprays everywhere. We're done.
You beat me to that. I was already with silly name.
It is a silly name.
In fact, no, this hasn't changed.
Doesn't look like it's changed.
No, it wasn't going to change because I think it is.
I think that was one of the last ones they came up with, so they were pretty much not going to do it.
Because it's stupid anyway.
It is an anti-infantry mulcher, and that's it.
I could move on to my one now.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
It shits out mini dwarfs.
Mini dwarfs? How much smaller can they get?
Sorry.
Hobbit.
So yes, we're on the Hammerfall.
Oh no, it shits out Kev Bryant. That's a horrible thought.
Oh, don't.
It's all right. He doesn't listen to War Machine podcast anymore.
It's gone down a point in cost.
Kev Bryant?
I'm
trying to talk about the topic for this evening, but if you want to be
the funniest one liner, you made it quite well. That.
Sorry.
Moving on.
I love Kev.
The Hammerfall Siege Crawl has gone down a point in cost. It has gained many, many, many boxes. It's gone up from 24 to 40.
Is that the highest? 40? I think it is, isn't it?
I think it may well be, which is, quite frankly, insane, but okay. Still got Construct, still got Pathfinder, still got Bulldoze, Dual Attack, Roadblock. It's gained reinforcements. So during your maintenance phase, return to play D3 small-based friendly Rulik grunts to play. Models return with 1 unmarked damage box, placed in completely within command range, in formation, and completely within 3 inches of another model in the unit. They must forfeit their combat action this turn.
What is the fluff supporting that? Are they coming out of it? Are they hiding inside?
They are literally. It literally is a small dwarfish incubator.
Is it a Land Raider basically? And there's like 20 dwarfs crammed into a Land Raider.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an APC. It is essentially an APC.
Think more Leviathan.
Yeah.
Oh.
GW Leviathan if it was made by midgets. My rattlings.
No, hang on. No, the original GW Leviathan was based off the squat land train.
No, it came out first, I think. The Leviathan came out first, and everything else got
the fluff
off the back
thing
of it.
was it was borrowed from the squat land train, wasn't it?
In retrospect, they did that retro, but yes, it came out before. It came out first, I think.
They basically just became mobile cathedrals, giant fucking cathedral city cathedrals.
The Capital Imperialis. You're thinking Capital Imperialis, I think.
It came along.
No, I swear, because they were pretty fucking huge by the end.
Well, the Capital Imperialis was. Leviathan was the same size as the squat.
I thought Leviathan was a class.
Oh?
Leviathan class crawlers.
No,
it was a specific. It was the armored thing. It wasn't the Capital Imperialis was the very big thing that could
I know that
whole
one.
Tanks and stuff.
But I'm just going to check this out because
the squat one had a gyrocopter spotter with it as well. It was a specialist squat one that came out a bit later. Well, if you're as old as me, it came out later.
I think it is a class because
there you go, there's the GW Leviathan. Just so you're not confused over what we're talking about.
One sec. Let me just see. This is the thing that's in final.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've got with my mic.
Yeah.
Where have you put it?
And then there was a squat kind of version of it called. What was the squat thing called? Not a Cyclops. What was it called? But it had a landing pad on the back, and it was. I had tons of them. But that came out earlier.
Yeah, that is the one I remember as well. But they weren't just. It wasn't just a single piece. They were a class, a vehicle.
There was a level of customization to them later, I think.
Because there was one in the Sabbat campaign as well.
Anyway, yes, I see what you mean about them having infantry inside and therefore being in the middle of the table. Yes.
Yeah. Now going to the. Yeah.
Although it seems cooler with its numbers, D3 a turn, returning to units. It's more like a Land Raider, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go. Here we go. One second.
The squats had Colossus and Cyclops variations, but the Leviathan was the Imperial one.
Yeah. But they made out it came from the squats, but that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
After they were wiped out.
No, before that. When the squat armies all came out for Epic and they had the Cyclops and the Colossus were amazing. They made out the Leviathan was made by the squats.
And the Tyranids eat all the squats.
Tasty squats.
They're only a light lunch. No wonder they kept on going. Anyway, we've just set back the...
Far too much Games Workshop for the moment. Although, to be honest,
Games, we come on to it later. Any other business for Games Workshop?
We'll do that in any other business because, quite frankly,
there's tons of any other business for Games Workshop.
Yeah, I think with the immense amounts of boxes this has gained, plus the fact it now reinforces things like Hammer Dwarves and the Dwarf Mages. Yeah, that's kind of useful.
It's not a bad cannon. It's just good.
Yeah, it's got a single D3+1 gun and the 2 Siegebreaker cannons, which against Colossals and also against the hopefully more prevalent battle engines with the extra die of damage. Yeah, suddenly that's got a bit more potential.
It's not going to die easily, is it?
Nope. Armor 20 and 40 boxes. You're going to have to put some effort in there. That's.
Can you buff its armor with squat casters? I can't think of any. I don't know their stats well enough.
No, I don't think there's any way to buff the armor. I think you could do it temporarily with Osram, perhaps.
Although with armor 20 and 40 boxes, you could charge it with a heavy and it'll still stand at the end of the game.
Yeah, Osram on feet turn, it's armor 23.
It's a mini colossal.
It is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it is.
We're done here. It's going to make people sad. We're done.
You just read that down.
It might not make it past CID in that format.
I think it has to make it playable.
Why not 38 then?
It can lose a couple of boxes.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think, in all honesty,
I think they want it to have more armor than the War Wagon. More wounds.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. And the dwarfs need more survivability, but
I don't see it's a problem. I mean, you charge it in with something you really want to kill it with, something that can hit it hard and repetitively and a lot. It will die.
Yeah,
you have to make sure you have to put effort into killing it.
With a single heavy, it becomes slightly dicey to take it out. At that point, unless you can put some debuff on it or whatever. So I don't think it's out of this world, but I think I would take that now occasionally. It's become interesting.
Yeah, there's a fairly short list of things that could confidently remove it. Yeah.
Should we move on to Kurt's favourite thing?
Yeah, we'll only spend a minute or so on
it. Oh, you're so mean.
I'm not. It's fine. Carry on.
Okay. Well, going up to the War Wagon for Trolls, obviously now moved on to Hordes because we've exhausted all the War Machine ones. We have, Trollkin War Wagon, up to 38 boxes from, again, 24.
Yeah.
So an extra 14 boxes. It's dropped a point in cost.
Nice.
It's same stats. Cavalry Construct Pathfinder.
It's had very similar changes to the War Wagon, to the well, what was I forgot what it's called now. Cadre one.
Yeah, it's lost its trample, gained line breaker, and also gained shooting gallery.
It had line breaker before, I think.
Oh no, you're right. It did have line breaker before. It's just lost.
This is probably the only one I know the stats of well. So yeah,
fair enough.
But yeah, no, shooting gallery is replacing trample.
That's interesting. So shooting gallery, this model gains +2 to ranged attack rolls against models within 5 inches of it.
Yeah.
With a spray 8, that gets quite tasty quite quickly.
Doesn't it? I quite like
that. Really does. I mean, you've also got it less useful for the pounder.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
But that's still pretty much intact. 5-inch arcing fire quake.
Its range is not as effective as it was in Mark II because you used to be able to trample it with fast strike on it. So you could trample it 10 inches, and then you could shoot it 16 or 14. I think you could. I think it was range 10, and then you could add 4 inches with fast strike. You can't fast strike it now, obviously, because fast strike itself. And the Mark III. So it's kind of split the difference and give it 12, I think.
Yeah, you can still knock down something ineffective. 21.5 inches away. Because you've got a 7-inch move, a 12-inch fire, and then something 2.5 inches back from that.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean then. Yeah.
So yeah, being able to knock down something 21.5 inches away is not inconsiderable.
No.
It's still got momentum. It's still got trampling hooves.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I really like it. I like it a lot. I will miss the trample. I'll be honest, because that was one thing. Not that I've played it War Wagon and Mark III at all, but I used to really enjoy the fact that you could it would come up the table at 10 inches a turn shooting, all the way, which was lovely. But so it's slightly slower, but it's got reposition now. So it's the rules have changed around. So it still moves 10 inches if you want to, or it can move and then duck back in slightly sideways, or to stand in front of other things. I like it a lot. It's making me want to put it on the table.
There is the potential there now for it to advance, spray a decent little corridor of infantry with its spray and shooting gallery, use the pounder to then knock down a target that you've then exposed, reposition it to the side, and then go, right, my heavy's there, got a nice clear charge lane on a knockdown model.
Or I've now got a really good line of sight to with the bomber to something I've knocked down.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. Yeah, it's you're right. It's got. I mean, the arcing fire is nice with the charging in. If you charge in and have the trampling hooves and shoot way over those into something way in the backfield is quite a nice one as well. It's got a lot more options all of a sudden. The survivability is what really makes it stand out. I mean, effective armor 21 with 38 boxes is nice.
I mean, for you, that's more boxes than any of your heavies.
Yeah, way more. It's more boxes than heavy anyway, because maximum is 38, 36 on any heavy. Yeah. And that's only really the behemoth thread, isn't it? But 38 is way more than a heavy. It's costs that's slightly cheaper than a bomber, so that's a really nice place for it to be.
Yeah, because 2 points fewer than a bomber, 2 points more than a mauler. So
yeah, does a very different job to a mauler. It's hard to compare it to a mauler, but
it's similar to cheaper than Dozer and Smig.
Yeah, I can say it's Dozer and Smig is its nearest points, and because it's range shooty and arcing fire and stuff, but that it's much more survivable Dozer and Smig.
Yeah.
And you could still take what's his face and heal it, the mechanic guy, if you really wanted to try and patch it up now and then, but don't know whether I wouldn't. That was always my plan when he was announced.
You don't feel you need to anymore. No. Is the thing. Because it can probably survive a round or two.
Well, especially if you start running it with someone like with Gunbjorn and you're selling that gun's range 16, moving 7 inches. It's got a lot more potential. Just the survivability alone gives it so much more potential. Yeah.
And I think that is the big thing for this whole redesign ethos. Just making it so they stick around on the table and they actually feel like an obstacle rather than, oh yeah, there's a battle engine. Oh, I guess I'll take it out.
Yeah.
Now it's something you've actually got to go, okay, if I want to take it out, I have to put resources in, which for 16, 17, 18-point models is only right.
I do think I like shooting Gary is really interesting in a way, and they've done it on both the Cadre as well as the War Wagon. You're right.
Shooting Gary not on the Cadre one.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was. All right. Are they gain line breaker? We've seen that before.
Yeah, it's gain line breaker.
So I mean, shooting Gary is really interesting in the sense that it's a way to buff. You were dead right. A way to buff the scattergun without buffing the pounder, making the pounder insane.
Yeah.
Because pounder's still about 5, and you got that's hard to hit things with that, but suddenly his scattergun's about 7 most of the time. Nice.
And if you're a little bit bogged down, as long as you're not engaged, I believe you can still aim and go, you know what, it's a Rat 9 gun. Let's see what it does.
Thought it could shoot whilst engaged. Could it not now?
You can shoot while engaged, but I don't think you can aim while engaged.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah. So we'll get letters if I'm wrong.
And I think, it sounds sensible.
So
cool.
So much better place for you.
Much. I miss having mine on the table because I'm very happy with how mine turned out. I'm really, Don't know what list and with whom. I don't know. Oh, with the new theme list, which we're obviously not going to talk about today, but it fits in the new theme list. It's being mooted as well.
Fair enough. Okay. Next up, we have Rules Bloat the model.
Yeah. Luckily, without massive amounts of different things on it.
So the Celestial Fulcrum is the next one up. It's still 19 points. Still same stats. It goes up from 20 boxes to 30.
That's significant.
Yeah. Still got Construct, the 3 immunities, and Pathfinder. Still got Circular Vision. Fury Generator.
It's all the same, isn't it? Isn't it pretty much the same?
No, Fury Generator has become Fury Bank.
Oh.
So Fury Generator, it used to gain 1 Fury point at the start of each control phase, have up to 3 points at any time, and could use that to boost attack and damage.
Now it operates more like the Cruel Stone. You have to put Fury into the caster. Right, interesting.
So it can have up to 3 Fury points on it, and it can use those to boost attack or damage, which is interesting. But it also means...
feel the hate already.
But originally it could only ever gain 1. Now, turn 1, if you've got 3 spare Fury points, you can just chuck them on there.
Which you would, yeah.
And that makes it infinitely more useful because you can just start pounding stuff with it. It's got a gun platform, same as it used to, and it's gained 2 new abilities. So you have Power of the Stones. During your control phase, this model can leech Fury from friendly faction construct models within 5 inches.
That's nice.
Yeah. That's pretty tasty. That means you can start running your constructs that little bit hot, and you'll be fine. Obviously, you know, it's, I believe, does it still have the limit of 3? Yes, this model can have 3 Fury points at any time. So it's still limited to 3, but still, that's a nice touch. It's also got Veteran Leader Blackclad, which mentally doesn't make much sense, but fine. While in this model's command range, other friendly Blackclad models gain +1 to attack rolls.
Yeah, I can't see how that works, really. Because your Blackclad solo is miles away.
Well, this is the thing. It's not just your Blackclad solos.
Well, this Stone unit's got a Blackclad leader, hasn't it?
It's all of your... It's the new cavalry models they're getting. It's most of your casters. It's your druids.
Are they Blackclad as well?
Yes.
Oh, Blackclad, of course they are, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Blackclad covers an awful lot of the faction. So, for instance, the Balders, Bradigus,
the Stone UA is a Blackclad, isn't he? I think
the Kayas, Krugers, Mosar, Morvana, Tanith, Una. They are all Blackclads. In fact, the only ones that aren't are Wormwood, Chromac, and Grail.
Wow.
So +1 to hit. Now, bearing in mind there's people like Tanith who can potentially do spell assassinations, giving her +1 to your attack rolls.
Tasty.
Yeah.
So if you see this, kill it.
It's not spells, it's not melee, it's not ranged, it's everything. And that's the key thing.
So if you see this, best kill it.
Yeah, that just makes it's almost like mini Eye of Menoth within 5 inches. Which it's not crazy, but it's real useful. And it makes the slightly underused Druid models for Mark III quite a threat again.
True. Yeah. Command 10, that's a big bubble again, going back to the same maths again, isn't it? It's a big bubble.
Yes.
Absolutely huge bubble, actually.
Yeah. That's 25 inches across.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's a nice range. Oh, God. The weapons, I believe. So, Flame Blast is same stats. Yeah, it's lost smoke on the Flame Blast, so it doesn't leave the AoE in play as a cloud.
Yeah.
Lightning Bolt is the same.
Just the changes in how Leap works. Yeah.
Yep. And Winter's Rage.
Spray 10, stationary, that's the same.
Sure.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that looks pretty much the same.
Cool. So actually going from me reading it going, it looks the same, to there's actually some significant change there.
Yeah. Veteran Leader, Power of the Stones, and Fury Bank. Huge changes. Huge.
More fluffy, though. More fluffy. I like it.
Yeah. And it really encourages people to put Blackclads on the table again. Which, yeah. I think that's quite a nice model for Circle now. Still a little on the expensive side. Still 19 points. But at the same point, it's 19 points that is actually doing something.
Nice.
So, yeah. 19 points kind of puts in the range of their other heavies. So it's a little bit more survivable now, I suppose.
A little bit? That's a hell of a lot more survivable than anything else in Circle, isn't it? Apart from Megalith himself.
Yeah. It's as survivable as the stone ones, essentially.
Yeah.
But at a point less than Megalith. But a hell of a lot more interesting than it used to be. Because what it used to be was not... I don't think it was playable. But I think we've come across that one.
Yes.
Benj, any thoughts?
Good.
Nah, it's Circle.
Good to know. Good to know.
Sorry, I don't play Circle. What's the Circle? I'd like to play Circle, I just can't paint druids.
Benj, it sounds like we've just woken you up from you falling asleep on your desk.
Maybe. No, I'm good. Everything's good.
Mike, do you want me to find the picture of Benji sleeping on a desk and we'll put it in with the show notes?
I've got that picture somewhere.
Excellent.
I had more hair then. Only a little bit.
Okay,
good.
Fair enough. Next up, which they've done in the wrong order. I was expecting to go to Legion, but no, they've gone to Scorn. We
Tentacle Monster.
Pardon?
Oh, I thought we were doing Legion.
No.
It's gone.
No.
It's the Animantarax.
The Siege Animantarax.
Yes.
Applying, there will be 26 other types of Animantarax.
So up from 24 boxes to 35. Up a point as well. Dear God, the Animantarax getting more expensive. What's going on?
Because you can't just give Scorn things. You've got to take stuff away as well. Otherwise, the world ends.
Stats are unchanged. Still Cavalry. Still Pathfinder. Still got the Beast special rule. Still Cantankerous.
Is that the same as it? I wasn't sure if I had that or not. Gains of speed. Yeah. Been raised focus a boost.
That's still pretty much the same. Dual attack.
Yeah.
Trample, reposition.
Oh, I see. It still gets trample. I see. Right. Apart from the cavalry models that don't get trample, it gets trample.
You do realize it's cavalry, right?
Kind of. It's a big beast.
It literally has the cavalry keyword on there.
I can see that, but so have I. So my things.
I'm just saying, it's still cavalry. The Reaver still D3+1, range 12, power 13. Still got volume fire.
Still rubbish.
I'm not seeing.
Still rubbish.
You've got the spear, which
is also still rubbish.
I'm uncertain as to what it's saying here, because it says spear 2 times left and right. Does that mean
side?
Does that mean there's 2 each side or 1 each side?
1 each side.
Because if so, that's still meh.
Meh. It's beyond meh.
Range 2, PNS 15. Actually, that's
harder,
that's
isn't it?
Gone up.
Yeah, it has definitely. It's like 12 or something before, isn't
it? PNS 11. Oh, and
wait, independent attack. What?
That looks. This is it. Okay, no, that's a typo. Because it says this attack has base strength 6, base power 5, and PNS 11. They've just put PNS 15 on the line as a mistake because that's a holdover from the mount lower down. Clubtail has crit smite. Has this changed at all? Genuinely, has this changed at all apart from the boxes?
But it looks disappointing, so it looks possibly the same.
They've made it more points and just given it some boxes. What is going on?
Dear Scorn players.
I was told it was playable.
I've heard that as well.
It probably is. You can target it with medicate options.
You're struggling there.
It's Scorn. It's just Scorn. That's what Scorn is. I don't play Scorn. You don't play Scorn.
This is the problem. Whenever we get to Scorn, my mind just goes, yeah, and
Alex used to play Scorn, but Alex didn't turn up. So what can we do?
after we rearranged this to a weekend because he asked us nicely.
Yes.
I may not make weekends an option in next month's poll for when we're doing the podcast. But
I concur. I would support that decision.
I would literally vote for you in any form of election if that was the case.
Even for a penny in the pound. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's as near as we get to politics. Moving away now.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
please no.
There's an election coming.
No! Benj, on the podcast. Come on.
We're all doomed.
Yeah, Scorn, largely the same. I'm going to move on because I don't care.
That's good. About Scorn.
I have made my opinions known about Scorn for a long time. I do not care for their aesthetic. I don't care about the fact
and while I like to disagree with you on principle, I totally agree.
Yeah,
I like their aesthetic. Apart from the beast,
I thought you could say you like big butts and you cannot lie.
That too, I do like big butts.
There you go.
Other brothers can't deny.
You've ever heard the orchestral version of that? It is super. And it is, was it Sir Mix-a-Lot in front of an orchestra as it's doing it. It's just so good. I'll see if I can find it.
Have you heard of the back version of All Star? It's amazing. Orchestral score.
Good.
No?
Yeah, it's funny.
I've seen the Star Wars version of All Star. But anyway.
There's many versions of All Star.
I feel we're moving away here.
Where it's not. Wait,
we're on the throne of Everblight.
Oh, it's tentacle.
It's Legion, and I care slightly more.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, marginally more than I do about Anthrax. Anthrax has always been a joke.
Point cost down by 2.
Ooh,
it's a good start.
Don't say the joke thing in front of Chris Cawthorne. He might kill you with it. Like they had. He does
do well. He used to do very well with it, so he would try and kill me with it if we both turned up to play War Machine at the same time at the same place, which doesn't happen in a very long time.
He might turn up at your house with it and just poke you with it.
He could do that.
With my current job applications, I may well end up in the same city as he is. So
do it.
There we go. We'll discuss that later, though. Anyway, it's gone up from 24 boxes to 36, so 12 points of damage. Its stats are unchanged. Still got flight.
Flight. So stupid.
Yeah, it appears to have lost Bone Picker, which is where it gained corpse tokens.
Okay.
Which is interesting, I guess. Circular Vision is still on there. Death Feast has gone away as well. So, yep, because it can no longer collect corpses. Death Feast, which allowed it to regenerate using corpse tokens, that's gone away. Fine.
I'm guessing it didn't have necrophage built before.
It did.
It did. Oh, well, wow.
Yep.
I thought it'd be replacing it. Okay.
The feeding has also gone away because again, no corpse tokens to boost attack or damage rolls, which is okay.
Wow.
Magic ability 7. It's gained Ice Cage, which is interesting. I'm not entirely sure that's useful because of the weapons it's got, which you'd be sacrificing for that. But we'll get to that part. Ice Cage, for those who don't know, it's a range 10 attack that gives a cumulative -2 death for the turn, and if 3 hit, the model becomes stationary.
So at some point, it ate a Grey Lord, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it basically ate a Turnian unit.
Yeah. It's still got Spine Burst, still got Frostbite. They're unchanged. It gains Snacking, which is just a more immediate version of what it used to have. So now that you don't have corpse tokens hanging around, you just eat something and regenerate. It's gained a Tentacle, which are still range 2, power 5, PNS 16, are still chain weapons with chain strike, so they're range 4.
Nice.
I actually think just making this 2 points cheaper and giving it an extra attack is pretty decent.
I had Winter's Grip that's been changed to Ice Cage. It didn't just gain Ice Cage. It had something called Winter's Grip, which I can't remember what that was.
No, not on this card.
That's what the notes say. It was called Winter's Grip.
I think Winter's Grip may have been on the first version in CID.
Okay.
So
maybe it was near as Damn It Ice Cage. So they went, hang on, just call it this.
Looking at the current version that is in the game, it only has Frostbite and Spine Burst.
Right. Okay.
So Winter's Grip was probably something that came along as a first version in CID.
I can't have ever heard of Winter's Grip anywhere else.
No.
Yeah.
I think they've actually just plain made it better. Yes, you lose the ability to boost, but that puts it back into being an infantry mulcher. It's just there at Mat 7 to go into infantry and go, I will have that one, that one, that one, and that one. And it can even go to medium bases and just tear them apart as well at power 16.
True, yeah. Which seems a bit redundant in Everblight, if I'm honest. A huge base.
Yeah.
Can it be brought back under Fag's feet still? Or is
it's not
it...
War Beast?
No, but he used to be able to.
He used to be able to bring back the...
Angel.
Angelius.
No, the big one too. Not this. It was only that's War Beast. It's always been War Beast, isn't it? I think.
Yes.
I swear.
Sagrosh's only War Beasts.
Oh, okay.
Which obviously right at the beginning was like the scariest thing it could bring back was the Carnivian. And he went, that was pretty bad. And then it goes, no wait, I can bring this back as well. Oh, and this. And this.
That's pretty bad. No wait, hold my beer.
Yes. I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah. 2 points off. More boxes. Killed infantry. I'm still not sure it sees an awful lot of play, but
no.
I think it's in a position where it could.
I just think it's always been a bit redundant. I know that it has had uses in some of the theme lists in Mark II, but it just seems a little bit redundant. I just don't see it has a use in Legion myself, but that's just, yeah.
At armor 20 and 36 boxes, it's actually hardy enough to possibly hold a zone.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I think some of the other war beasts might start having problems given the new versions of Steamroller that are coming out. We can wait and see, but yeah, I think 36 boxes, armor 20, that's better than any of their beasts. If you can stick some sort of buff on it as well, it suddenly becomes a very hard target. But yeah, I think you're possibly right. It might be redundant, but we'll see. Oh, next one may be relevant to you, but you're more pig focused. It's the
What?
Sorry, it just sounded funny. Some of the things we said tonight, out of context, are funny.
You say I'm pig focused. My pigs are on loan at the moment for quite a while.
I know. To a man who likes playing Arcadius to just have infinite threat range.
I take them away and you can play them against the Signar if you really want to.
No. That's
fine. I can take them right now.
No.
Oh, wake me up when all this horde stuff is done.
Oh my god!
Oh, you were so sad, Ben.
It's half the fucking game.
Oh, you should have seen some of the comments about the Grimkin piggyback riders. They're so funny. People are so salty.
Why?
Because they just say that they don't fit the aesthetic of the game.
Why?
Oh, because
the whole thing about the Grimkin is they are meant to be the folk tales and nightmares.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
Flesh.
You don't
on that same debate, trolls don't fit the aesthetic of the game.
Really?
I mean,
they are all right with trolls.
The aesthetic of hordes, but they are the comedy orcs of hordes.
Comedy. They're more intelligent.
No, seriously, if you go back and look at the like second edition 40k orcs with the bright colours and holding random bits of kit, that kind of orc, they are the weird and slightly odd
I like to generally avoid that. I totally have to agree with the comparison, but I generally like to avoid that because I did briefly own those Mark II trolls, second edition trolls. I've got me doing it now, orcs. But I'm not a fan of orcs in general, and I do love my trolls, and I do see them as different. But aesthetic-wise, they are a weird slant. I know they're right from the beginning, and it's something that Matt Wilson was drawing before the game existed and was creating way before.
They're kind of really weird, especially only having painted a couple of trolls, but I have painted where you get halfway through painting something, go, is this model holding a string of sausages?
Yeah. or a pig.
Yes, and you suddenly have to like reevaluate the whole thing and just go, what the hell is this?
Why is this character going into war carrying a pig?
Yeah. So yeah,
trolls. I love trolls. They're just trolls.
The aesthetic of War Machine is incredibly varied. If you're going to look at it like that, you can't be reductive. I mean, even within War Machine, you go right from the ramshackle, patched up bits of mercenaries to the super technological convergence of Sirius, which bear almost no resemblance to each other, but people don't say that those don't fit in the same game world because there is a logical piece of text to back up why they would coexist.
I don't think people would care about Grunkin if it wasn't for Malifaux. It's the fact that it starts to look like Malifaux.
I think you've actually got a very valid point there.
That's what it is. This looks like Malifaux, therefore it's not War Machine. Whereas if you had no comparison, because Malifaux is the only thing like that we've ever seen that I can think of, where you're playing in a dreamscape, effectively, or kind of. Then, without that,
I think that there have been some comparative bits, but they're in other genres. So you've got the weird World War II ones where you've kind of got Nazis mixed with Cthulhu.
Spider tanks.
That's one of them. Then you've got the sort of the outlandish versions of the Wild West where it mixes your cowboys with robots and magic, and they're their own thing as well. So you do have some similar aesthetics, but you're right, Malifaux's the only one that's really said, yeah, we're going to have this sort of this group who are going to be the people who are protecting the laws and the super judicial characters, but then these guys are going to have a massive teddy bear who just eats things.
Well,
and it's so disparate and odd, and you're right, the aesthetic is similar, and it probably is putting a couple of people off, but in fairness, I look at Scorn and their aesthetics put me off.
I don't like Scorn. I've never liked Scorn right from the very beginning.
I think this is the big thing with a game like this, where you have that number of varied factions. There are always, if it's properly designed, there are always factions that you are going to look at and glom onto instantly and go, yes, I want to play that. There are also going to be other factions you look at and go, what is this?
So I've always liked religious fanatics, so I have quite a sizable Menoth army.
Yeah.
The trolls caught my I've probably told the story more than once on this podcast. I bought the original Hordes Mark 1 book, and I bought the Legion box set and Zagros, and I went away on holiday. On holiday, read the original fluff in the original first Mark 1 rule book, and then it was on the honeymoon actually, dragged my wife across Wales trying to find a place to buy trolls. Because the fluff alone sold me on trolls. I heard that story.
No.
Yeah, dragged it down to Swansea to find a shop to go and buy some trolls. And what I was like, I must own these. They're so cool. I want them. So that's what I did. And that was the start of trolls. And that's ridiculous number of years ago now. And that's like the month after it came out. That was the May.
It was a bit like me when I looked at the game for the first time and I've been out of miniatures gaming for years at this point. And the first time I looked at the squat kind of, menacing figure of the Juggernaut and the Destroyer, and my mind just flicked back to the Blood Angels Dreadnought, and just went, I have to have these.
I remember looking at it when it was earlier than that. I remember somebody having had the box sets to selling it on the side, kind of thing, probably in the back of a Games Workshop, and I remember seeing the Menoth box set, the Cadre box set. and kind of going, yeah, I like those kind of robot-y things and stuff. Yeah, I'll come back to this at some point. I don't, not right now. I'm busy paying 40k, but maybe at some point. And then pretty much it was generated by, which we'll come back to probably at the end. I thought of the podcast, driven by my army's been made illegal by codex changes, and me going, oh, I don't want to repaint this and repaint that, and jump both feet into something completely new.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably get on with the last two battle engines. Ben said, I want to make this a short show. Tough luck, sunshine. It's already past 11 o'clock.
Can we just tell people the stats and just go yay or nay?
Right, so Sacral Vault then, same points cost. Stat line is actually increased. So we've got up from Rat 5 to 6, and the rest of the stats the same. Still Construct, Isle of Sight, Gunfighter, and Pathfinder. Still got Soulstorm, which is just tremendous. I hate Soulstorm. So Soul Taker, we've still got that. Gets its D3 soul tokens if it doesn't have any.
Yeah.
Can hold up to 5 soul tokens at any time, and can spend them for the following. So still got Arcane Vortex, which just
nice.
And Strength of Death. It can still use souls to boost attack or damage for each one spent. Then you've got its gun. So the gun itself, range 12. Oh, it's gone from D3 shots to 1. And it's power 13. But it's got reload 2.
Yeah.
So it can spend souls to reload, which, depending on how much you're killing, can be quite useful, actually. It's more... You can plan for it more than you can
True.
D3. Because if it's just D3 and you roll a 1, oh, well, you're done. Reload 2, you've always got a chance to go, actually, I'll take a second shot.
True, yeah.
It looks like Deathly Domination has changed.
What did it do before?
So it looks like the requirement to have a soul to spend has gone away. So the old one was if it boxed a living or undead, non-warcaster, non-warlock, enemy warrior model, you could spend a soul token to take control of it and make a full advance and basic attack.
No, it's free.
And it wasn't targetable by free strikes. Now it looks like you just get that without spending soul. So,
but you have to spend souls to extra shots. So there's a bit of a balance there, isn't there?
Yeah, that is fair. But again, it's that whole thing of you can now always make the 3 if you've got the souls.
Yep.
So there's potential. One thing that I missed out on here that I have done for every other one, it was 22 damage boxes, now 32. I mean, being as people liked this one already, I don't see these as huge changes.
I think potentially how devastating or dominating, what's the right word? This has always been good for sticking in the middle and going, come at me. Because infantry would just die and flail as they charged into it.
Yeah, because it had Soulstorm.
It always had it, so yeah. But now it's harder to kill. I mean, you still could put heavy into it, it's going to remove it, but
yeah.
Again, you go back to the same as we've already said several times before. If you put serious energy into killing it, it's going to die. If you don't, you're going to do half a job, but it's going to be sit there laughing at you.
Yeah. I don't think its damage output is going to be increased. But it is more predictable.
I think scenario plays becomes more so because, again, just because infantry can't touch it. Single wound infantry can't touch it.
Yeah. So I think though probably it's a little bit better, or in the new meta, maybe about as powerful as it was.
Yeah, that sounds realistic. Yeah.
So, any thoughts from you, Ben? Or are you just asleep by now?
I never faced the crap carriage in Mark II, so
What?
I saw people like
Sackle vault bench.
Yeah, that one.
Crab carriage.
I saw people get very angry at it.
Yeah,
and that was about all I knew of it, really. And this still sounds pretty horrible.
Yep.
So yeah, so meat thresher and we're done. It's good.
Yes, we are. So, down from 19 points to 16.
This is very attractive. This one.
That's big. 24 boxes up to 36.
Yep.
That's manageable.
Still the same stat line. Still construct pathfinder.
Bulldoze. Yeah.
Still got bulldoze. Still got dual attack. It's gained exhaust fumes. So when this model advances during its normal movement for 1 round, while within 3 inches of this model, other friendly fraction models gain concealment.
Nice.
Ugh. Oh God! If you got some of the ones that can dig in as well, actually no, dig in. They just get that
cover. They get cover from digging, don't they? So yeah. But it's like, so it makes me think it's like the Glacier King. It's got the Glacier King's bubble.
That's a bit weird.
It's got turn up the heat as well. So this model can use turn up the heat at the start of the activation. This model gains +2 speed. I mean, it suffers D3 for doing it, but it becomes speed 8.
D3 out of 36.
Oh, this sounds bad already.
D3, nice.
So it can get faster. It's going to keep concealment. What is this?
I want 2.
So first range weapon, first weapon, the Hailer. Range 12 stays the same. It's changed from 2D3 to D3 +1. So yeah, not quite as good, but +1 power. And volume fire. So that's nice. That's +1 to attack and damage rolls against medium based and +2 against large.
Nice.
Okay, fine, whatever. Crusher wheel, range 1 power 4, PNS 16. Yep, still the same. Grinding wheel, additional die on attack rolls against small and medium based models. Yep, still the same.
Jesus, it's got quite a list.
Yeah, high impact.
16 points. This is really nice.
Makes 1 melee attack against everything in its line of sight.
I can't see this keeping all of this.
Well, the Crusher is pretty much as was.
But 16, no, it's 16 points. I can't see it staying at 16 points.
Not 16.
What did they do? Did they just throw everything on it and say, "Yeah, we'll see what sticks"? Just throw all the shit on it.
Oh, that's quite frankly terrifying. What is this?
I think we're done.
Knockdown. When a model is hit with a weapon, it becomes knocked down. Gain damage rolls with its weapon against knockdown targets.
So basically, against small or medium based models, you get an extra die to hit, which is going to knock them down, which means you get an extra die of damage.
Power 16, that kills anything.
I'm glad I don't play against pigs.
They've made it cheaper and heartier.
I like it. I want 2. At that points cost, I want 2.
Nerf now, plus.
Flanking. Can you imagine these on the flank just going speed 8? Well, it becomes speed. Moving 16! Jesus!
Did we have to finish on a high for Kurt and a low for everyone else in humanity?
I don't even have my minions at the moment.
It is playable in Circle, Legion, Scorn, and Trolls.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So he can play 2 War Wagons and 2 Meat Threshers.
Right.
Or he could play, I don't know, 2 Meat Threshers and a Mountain King.
The exhaust fumes are only faction models, though, so Trolls can't get any concealment from exhaust fumes.
Oh, no. The dream's over.
But it
works very well with the pigs.
Even without the exhaust fumes, come on.
It's lovely. I've never even seen one. I've never seen one in the flesh, ever.
I've seen one. That was it.
Yeah, you never used to find many pure pig players. So, what are you laughing at, Benj?
Just some of the out of context things we've said. Like if we weren't talking in context.
Benj, are you on medication of some sort? I'm actually curious now.
No. So this is the thing. Someone yesterday said I'd taken too many painkillers, and I haven't taken enough today.
Okay.
So, am I just sounding weird?
I'm a big fan of playing Pure Pig. That's fun. Just take him off.
You're just making Benj corpse for no reason.
For my own sports, there's no reason at all.
No, true. Fair enough.
Yes, so, like that one. Happy with that. Very nice.
So, this being week 2 of the CID for battle engines, do we have any overall thoughts?
To me, Thresh is going to get hit with a stick. Unfortunately, he'll go by 17 or 18 points at least, or it'll get something, lose something. That's too good. But apart from that,
apparently that hasn't changed from week 1. That's how it came in.
I don't think enough people are playing pigs.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
Even for your entertainment.
I mean, I do like where they're taking the battle engines. I do like that they're upping the boxes. They're making them more into utility pieces. They're making the ones that are there to just kill things, kill more things.
They're going to be on the table. We're going to see them. They're going to be. It's going to be what it seemed that they tried to do it when they first arrived to almost be the equivalent of a heavy, and they never quite managed it. This is then going right. Let's just do this properly. It's because the extra armor, the extra wounds that they get over and above what heavies get, is kind of needs to be there to counteract their size. So because you can't hide them, you can't conceal them, you can't do anything else with them. So and they're all fairly low defense, really. They're all going to get hit easily.
Yeah, they're all defense like 10 or whatever.
And you can't get concealment, you can't do all the other things. So yeah, it's I think it counteracts that, and you've got an equivalent to a heavy in a lot of respects, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think actually the highest defense one is 12 on the Wraith engine.
Yeah, it's always been different, that one, hasn't it?
What I like is that there's a lot of variety that you don't really necessarily see in other models. There's a lot of utility in them. There's support variants. There's in-your-face variants. Each one does something dramatically different, whereas a lot of factions infantry only has like 1 or 2 gimmicks. This is doing... This can change lists, dropping in and out of all sorts of things. Look, I mean, there are definitely going to be some lists that really want it and some that don't, but you can play around with it. They're not at home in any list. Basically, they could be in any list.
Yeah,
and they could provide some utility.
I mean, I think that there's some that are more niche than others, but they've certainly decided, no, we've got to ramp up the power on these. I think they do need to look at the Animantrax a little, because that doesn't seem to be...
Maybe we're missing something.
Either we're missing something, or that is just going nowhere. I think everything else kind of has its place.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It does. I mean, yeah, I never understood the Animantrax. I know that Chris Cawthorne managed to make it work really nicely in Mark 2, even when it was really bad, and he managed to make them work. But that was focusing the whole army around them, I think.
Well, they did change the Animantrax quite heavily in Mark 2 to actually make it playable.
Yeah, because you couldn't hit it with pain givers to begin with, either, could you? I don't think.
No.
For example. So yeah, they changed it. I like what they're doing with it. It's just generally be awesome to see them on the table more. I mean, it means I've got to rearrange my case to try and work out how to get my war wagon back in. But yeah.
You think that's bad? I've got a list planned out for 2 galleons, and I've got no case that can move 2 of those.
There is no case designed for a galleon. It is the most inconvenient model to move.
Well, I've actually had to break the arms on one of mine because I realised I put the crane on far too low. So nothing could ever get in melee because the crane would just go, no. Because the crane went down to ground level. So I've now had to sort of raise that really up so it can actually walk along and not hit things.
I've only ever transported mine once, and the trident broke off.
Yeah. Mine's had a snap trident as well.
I like the way my gargantuans are basically like just giant trolls, which are quite solid, muscular things. They just stay together.
They're just massive blocks of resin.
They are.
A few carved out faces on them.
Yep.
Yeah. The one I'm scared of at the moment, and I'll just bring it off its shelf here if I can.
What was it?
It is this thing here.
Oh God, the whisks.
the Rulik Colossal.
Those look like my bicycle pedals.
It's insane. How am I supposed to take that anywhere?
Put it on your head.
And the worst
Where is
thing,
the hat?
you look at the legs, they barely fit on the base.
It's a hat, it's a brooch, it's a pterodactyl.
You could use it to break into cars. Somehow. It's the ultimate lick pocker. I mean, pick locker. I can't even speak properly anymore. No, I said lick pocker.
That's because you're crazy, Benj.
Crazy.
You're crazy like fish.
Benj, is the lack of oxygen from your chest infection actually making you slightly high?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right. So, with the overall conclusion that this is interesting and possibly in the right direction,
yes,
I think now might be the time for my sanity as well as Benj's to move on to any other business. So,
yes.
Kurt.
Hello.
Any other business?
I'm trying to think. When I painted some stuff, I painted some more. I painted a few bits for Zombicide, Black Plague. Some more heroes for that. And looking forward to the
painting more bits for Black Plague. Have you not got that fully painted yet?
No, because
Or
we're doing
are there
Sits and Stars.
thousands more models to go?
I did things like the Knights from Python and things like that as well, because I hadn't touched those before. And playing with the kids, they keep going, oh, I'll play this one now, so I'll paint that one. I haven't sat in focused time to try and paint all of them. And I'm quite keen on the there's a new Kickstarter coming for Zombicide as well at the end of May.
There's always a new Zombicide Kickstarter.
Well, this one's going to be, this was another expansion. It's not an expansion, it's a new game for Black Plague, effectively, which is the Green Menace, something like that. It's zombie orcs, basically.
Yeah.
They're going to be green plastic zombie orcs, and that looks awesome. So I may very well get caught up in that. The other kind of thing is I've been somewhat obsessed with the happenings in Games Workshop. As I mentioned earlier on,
it's been hard to ignore. It's all over the Facebook feeds and all over the Twitter.
I rage quit 40k how many years ago? 2006. So 11 years ago, I went, I'm not doing this anymore, and joined Hordes. When they made my Black Templar illegal and made my Thousand Suns stupid, and amongst other things. And I'm really tempted by what's looking likely with 8th edition, and just really intrigued by what's happened with Age of Sigmar. And if they're applying some of that to that as well, that would be really interesting.
I just couldn't get back into playing 40k people.
You know, the same people.
They're not.
They really are.
They're so enthusiastic.
Benj, it does very much depend on your gaming group. Because, well, did you play 40k?
Me, yeah. I went to the stores and everything, and then
all three of us here, and in fact, if we include Nick and possibly even Alex, all of us are lapsed 40k players to greater and lesser extents.
I've played a lot of 40k, for a long time.
In this room, I have a case of Epic Imperial Guard. So
I sold all my Epic, and that's the other thing. Adeptus Titanicus is also that I would just buy that when it comes out, regardless. I want those bigger warlords.
I'm more mixed on what they're doing with that, but
I'm sold. Everything that comes out for that engages me more. But that's smaller and side thing. But I never thought I'd really consider 40k again, and I don't know what I build and paint and do. I've still got quite a lot of Nids. I've still got my Black Templar. I've still got some Thousand Suns. I've sold all my Eldar, and most of my Chaos.
Depending on where I am, when it happens, it may be that I will go back to the parents, pick up the big red box that's on top of the wardrobe, and look at that massive sprues that is a potential Imperial Guard army, and see what I can make out of it.
They're not the Imperial Guard anymore.
Pardon?
They're not the Imperial Guard anymore.
Yeah, they are.
It's Adeptus. What is it? Militarius.
Pantaloonus.
Astra Militarum.
Yeah.
Imperial Guard.
That's when the game lost it for me.
Okay, do you genuinely think that 90% of the players say Astra Militarum?
No, it was just
90% of players still go, oh, they're Guard.
It was the last corporate kind of thing that just really, because it's in the books, it's in the fluff now, and it just grates me.
But they're still the Guard. It's in the same way that we know that Privateer Press, and especially people like Souls, hate it when people refer to Asphyxius as Gaspy.
Yeah.
But they're never going to change it, so he just is Gaspy.
But when you're reading a book and you're trying to get into the fiction, it just sounds so ridiculous. It really does. Because
more ridiculous than Adeptus Astartes? More ridiculous than Adeptus Custodes?
Yes.
Why?
Because we've grown up with those things, and they sound.
So what you're saying is that one element of a fictional universe is more ridiculous than another because it's using the same fake Latin.
It sounds terrible. It literally sounds terrible. The Guard was the gritty backbone, the grunt face, and then they stuck a silly.
Really? Okay. Did you? There are things. There's the entire faction of Guard that is a Rambo parody.
Yes, yes, there are, but they have some very humorous.
There's the ones that I would like to play, which are dressed as pith-helmeted British colonial troopers.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I do remember that a very racist Games Workshop White Dwarf. The Massacre at Big Tooth River. Like, I know, literally.
But just because they put orcs in there doesn't mean it's racist.
Oh, they totally were. Never mind. That's fine.
So anyway, yeah, away from the hate, I'm intrigued by what they're doing, and I'm tempted to. I'm going to keep an eye out anyway and see what they come out with, see what models come out. Tempted, but I don't know what level, what kind of things I want to buy. I think my Black Templar are still pretty done. I don't think I'll touch them, but I could see me sort of redoing with nice new shiny 1,000 Suns, perhaps. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I think the big thing is, certainly for Games Workshop's games now, if you actually go to any of their games and just click on the Start Collecting button.
Yeah.
For every single faction, regardless of what it is, you can buy a small playable army, which, okay, it's not going to, do your full, 3,000 points or whatever, but it's a small playable army for 50 quid.
What I like, especially, is they're saying there are 3 modes of ways to play around the game. So rather than having this not quite strategic kind of game that they forced it to be that way with points and things. Now you can have more fluffy games you can play for a laugh. So we all used to do tons of these massive, great 40k armies and massive games that actually weren't really very balanced and were just fun. They do seem to be trying to get away from which recently with 7th it wasn't there, where you used to have this Eldar beat Marines, Marine beat Orcs, Orcs beat Eldar, and you had others fitted around that in different places. But that was standard for a very long time, and they seem to be trying to get away from that as well, which is also really interesting. Because you could just rip Marines to bits with Eldar all day long, and that's probably not going to be the case. But also, Orcs aren't going to trounce Eldar either. So I don't know. We don't know yet. I'm intrigued.
It looks like they're trying to introduce the narrative version, which will give you some sort of weird kind of amount of flexibility. You've got this tournament-based system that more hardcore, and they actually used the word balanced, which I am shocked that Games Workshop would actually ever deign to use that word in relation to any of their systems. But if they're going to try and do it, fair play to them.
The game that I played the most, the version of the game that I played the most was 2nd edition, and quite a size like a 3rd, but a lot of 2nd. And from what I've read and heard on various YouTube and official releases, it looks a lot like Bits of Second have come back in. So that's quite appealing on its own.
They've reintroduced the move statistic for a start. And
yeah, so nice.
And interestingly, from what I remember, and this is very hazy back in the day, they've actually changed the average move statistic. So they've changed the average move from the old 40k version, which was 4 inches, to 6.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yes, I think the statics of standard move was 6 inches for everyone in between, with like D6 for extra for fleet of foot people and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they've not gone back to your standard Space Marine moves 4 inches.
Yeah.
So
I like that though. It's good. I just like a lot of what I read. I'm intrigued what box set things are going to come out. We're going to get box set type games that might come up with it. That might be intriguing as well, because doing a lot of that as well. So
I actually think what they'll do is your main source for starting a faction will still be their current start collecting boxes, because they've said nothing that was in the game at the end of 7th will be written out. Everything will be viable. Which is, again, at Games Workshop, it's like, are you feeling all right? Do we need to take your temperature?
But they've also said no codices. So, and going in line with what happened with Age of Sigmar, it implies free codices or free rule sets. I think codices.
They
PDF.
do 3 like factional books.
Yeah.
But they will be like the good, the bad,
Armies of the Imperium. Monsters of the Warp, Armies of the Imperium, and Eldar, something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
An Orcs in there somewhere.
Which, God, they've always tickled my fancy. And
the only way I ever played Guard was under G-Steel Occults. That's the only way I've ever had Guard. I did have a G-Steel Occult army years ago. I might even still have most of that in the loft somewhere. I still love the universe. I still have a lot of affection for it. As you said, it's where we started. Space Hulk was a big part of me getting into it. An epic original first Space Marine Dutch Titanicus when I was a teenager. But I played more 40k than any game. I still have not played anywhere near the same number of War Machine games as I did 40k. Not even close.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I used to play 40k multiple times a week for months on end.
Yeah.
It was easy. I didn't have family. I didn't have kids. I had a mate living around the corner. I had my own house, a room that was dedicated to having a gaming table and computers in it. And it was just easy. It was just, we played 2 games a night at times, 2 or 3 times a week. It was just done. It was
not with second. You didn't.
No, true. 1 again, but getting into third,
unless you were playing 500-point games, you were not getting 2 games.
No, but getting into third, we were. But no, you're right. No, I'm recollecting back. It was harder in second. So I remember the rule books and the extra. It wasn't codices in second ed, but the expansions came out of second ed when I was sort of 18.
Ed was codices.
Was it codex? Yeah, was it the first time we saw them? But I remember the Eldar book and things like that coming out and sitting in my car reading them. Was
Codex Angels of Death.
So cool. Yeah,
I think Bench has died now.
So that's my end of the business. Is lots of other stuff really, and yeah.
I would second that. So Benj, any other business? No. Okay.
Dawn of War 3 is tempting as well.
Wait! I was muted.
Oh.
No, I've been looking at my Mark II codexes on the shelf now.
Oh
no!
We've put you in dangerous territory.
I've said a couple of things that have turned out to be inherent lies to myself, which was that I'd get into 30k when it got released. I'd buy a couple of the Primarchs whenever they got released, and I've not done that yet. But no, the game's still there. It never went away. There are various things that turn me off it. But I don't think getting into another game when I can barely get another game of War Machine on a regular basis would be a good idea.
I think it's much easier to get a 40k game wherever you live than it is War Machine.
I would probably echo that.
But again, it's still people that play 40k.
Still a metric ton of. I've been shocked at how many players there still are. Grown-up adult ones too, not kids. There's tons of people play 40k all the time still.
Yeah. Well, my Monday Games Club, where I go to play X-Wing, is still, there's always 2-3 tables of 40k. It's mostly been taken over by RPGs and X-Wing now, but there's still 2 or 3 tables there. No fantasy, which is no
Sigmar.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar, which is interesting.
If I could get a skirmish-sized battle, then maybe.
That's what that looks like. It's likely with the versions of it for Sigmar. It looks like it's coming.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar is coming out with a skirmish edition.
So therefore, that looks like we'll have what was it called? Not Dogs of War. Of course, something else later on, didn't it? But there's going to be a skirmish version of 40k by the look of it.
Yeah.
Well, there is a box set out now. There is now. There's the Necromundry things come out again, isn't it? Which is different and more like general
Shadow Wars or whatever.
I can't remember what it's called now, but yes, that's already out. Sold out everywhere, but it's out.
Right. Should we move on to Benji's any other business before this risks becoming a 40k podcast?
Yes. God, it's going that way, isn't it? Any other business? I got a lovely transformer for my anniversary from my missus as a present. It was one of the Combiner Wars big sets, which was Computron, and I've always wanted one of those. Finally got one, and now, unfortunately, I've just spent days upon days looking on eBay at third-party custom transformers and realizing that I can never afford them.
But Benj, where's the wargaming in this?
I don't know. If there was a Transformers war game, that'd be pretty cool. No, I haven't actually painted a model or anything yet. I'm waiting for June's releases for Retribution.
Well, there's quite a lot coming up for you, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to get inspiration for poses, but at the moment, Grishield is very static, so I don't think you can do much with that. The Jack looks pretty posable, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to putting glue to models to paint and stuff like that. So yeah, nothing at the moment, but coming soon. Maybe after the Welsh, I might pick something up as well. I haven't enjoyed...
People, the Welsh Masters will be taking place roughly a week after this podcast, so we'll all apart from Nick, and I don't think Alex is there either.
I'm not.
Oh, you want? So basically, it's me and Benj that's
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So you'll see us there, and we'll be happy to, I don't know, do very little for you.
I think we'll be happy to set up their tables.
No. We'll be happy to hand them objectives and circles and move on.
Well, we'll have to set up the initial tables and put out terrain. I mean, it's Firestorm though, so the tables.
A doddle, though. You just walk past and go, does that look vaguely playable? Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, well, God, last year there was like people going around with tape measures and going.
That's as long as you've got a 5-inch widget and a 2-inch widget somewhere, you're fine. You don't need a tape measure.
Well, every table I set up, a certain person went back and moved all the terrain just for no particular reason whatsoever. That was annoying.
The way you do things, Benj. That's all right.
Wow. Well, the way I set up a table is a personal reflection of everything I stand for in life.
It's part of your art.
It is. It's part of what makes this magic me. I checked earlier, unfortunately, as well, broadcasting on a Saturday, we don't even get our standard audience.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
But the main audience for the podcast is when we put it up for download anyway.
I know, but still, I now veto Saturdays again. I'm just putting that out.
Busy on Saturday evenings, but
yeah.
Anyway, so is that your any other business, Benj?
It is. I'm done. Thank you.
Fair enough. I would echo Kurt in saying, yeah, I've taken some brief glances at 40k. I don't know if I'm going to be invested in it, but we'll have a look. Yep, echoing Benj and saying I will be going to the Welsh Masters. Yay! Where we can look forward to a weekend of telling people no, you can't do that, and read the card, which is fine, but gets wearing. Otherwise than that, the only thing I've done recently is I had a really fun game of X-Wing, which we played. Standard game of X-Wing is 100 points aside. We played, I think it was 600 points aside over an evening.
Oh, wow.
Multiple epic ships. The Imperial side, which it's the only time I've ever played Imperial, the Imperial side had Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, and the Inquisitor on the table at the same time. So it was a bit of a mishmash of eras.
Did you have the Corvette, the Imperial? The Wedge,
the Imperial Raider.
Yeah.
Yep, we had 2 Imperial Raiders versus 2 Rebel Corvettes and the GR-75 transport. I had a bunch of TIE Strikers on the table. They're
lovely.
They're a very fun ship to fly.
Oh, they are. I had a mate come down for a weekend, and we played X-Wing all weekend. I don't know how long ago that was now, 6-8 weeks ago, and he brought 2 TIE Strikers with him, and he was struggling to move them around. We swapped armies, swapped fleets, and messed about with it. They're so nice.
Yeah, old Sabak is ridiculous. Just that ability to say, okay, I've taken no damage, I get an extra die of attack, is so good.
Just the maneuvering of them alone, I love the maneuvering of them.
But the whole point is, if you for those who kind of don't really get the whole X-Wing thing, you pre-plan your maneuvers, but the TIE Striker, if you've got adaptive ailerons, which is a free title that they can have, before you reveal your maneuver and execute it, you actually get to do a free sort of either 1 forwards or a 45-degree turn, left or right. And you have to do one of those, which means you can actually do turns that other ships just can't do. And it also means that despite your maneuver dial not going up to 5, so you can't go that distance, with a 1 boost and a 3 straight, you can do a 5.
It's nice.
It allows for so much more flexibility. It is nuts. And yeah, first time I've ever played Imperial, and now I might be taking 3 TIE Strikers next week to go, yo, I have some ships, dudes, let's play.
So, the Raider's getting its first canon appearance in Battlefront 2 as well, which is quite interesting. For me, anyway.
I don't think Battlefront 2 is technically canon.
It is. It has been. No, there's so many games now that are canon. Like Aliens, Colonial Marines is canon in the Alien universe.
All that's canon for Star Wars is the books, the animated series, Clone Wars,
and the movies.
Trust me, they announced that this is now canon. Battlefront 2, the squad that they're announced in this is part of the transition from the Empire to the Force to the First Order.
Games have always said that, though, haven't they? Games have always said that.
Yeah, but there are supporting books that are coming out.
Actually, someone did ask the current keeper of the canon, what is the status of FFG stuff in relation to the current canon? And he just put up a picture of the old Facebook relationship selector drop down and just had highlighted, it's complicated.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Because the Raider is in a very interesting place because it's something that didn't exist before FFG went, we need an Imperial large ship. So they went, okay, we'll make you one. So the fact that it's a Star Destroyer mixed with a TIE...
It wouldn't stun me to see it appear in Rebel Season 4, though.
No.
It's actually a wreckage of a Raider is shown in The Force Awakens in the graveyard of Jakku.
Oh, okay.
And the first headline, if you put, is Battlefront 2 canon. It says Star Wars Battlefront 2 will tell a canon story.
That's a very different thing, though.
Okay.
Being canon in total and telling a canon story are 2 very different things.
But Inferno Squadron is big. It's going to bridge the gap, supposedly, between that.
What they may well do is have books that are the canon version and then the game will in part retell them.
The book, there is a book coming out, but there was for the first one, which was Twilight Squadron.
That's how they generally prefer to do it, because the book they can sit there and analyze line by line. Okay, what does this mean for the Star Wars canon?
Well, look at Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight. That was all fully approved, stamped, nailed on, and yet Carl Catan is not canon.
And not anymore.
Not now, but he was.
No.
But it's also the reason why why FFG's game is somewhat interesting, because you can
Carl
have Carl Catan versus Kylo Ren,
and you've got Jan Ors and Jen Erso as well. Like what?
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've probably waffled on for long enough.
We're a Star Wars podcast now as well.
Yeah, totally. Well, we've had almost entire podcasts about X-Wing before, with people going, "Oh, it's X-Wing again, turn off."
And a bit of Armada.
Yamada.
Anyway,
and then having said all that, all my wargaming budget of late is just going on bike stuff anyway and cycling. So.
Mine's all gone on X-Wing, because I had about 5 waves to catch up with, and just went, yeah, you know what? I'll go to my local gaming shop, which is ridiculously cheap for X-Wing, and just went, yeah, I'll have one of everything.
I saw your post to think of that. Yeah.
So
I like the red ships.
Who's going to sign us off?
I will.
Okay.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre, the Hordes of War Machine, Star Wars, and I can't believe I'm saying 40k podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Kurt.
I've been Mike.
I've been Ben.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye.
There you go.
There we go. That's a podcast.
That was a podcast.
Yay.
I'm sorry. It's just I was not prepared for this again. I'm sorry. I wish I had have voted on the thing. I completely missed it.
Well, Benj, what I'll do is near the end of this month, I will put up another doodle thing to say when we're doing stuff. So just remember to vote this time.
Yeah, but with an explicit caveat that Saturdays are an extreme. Like,
I'll put them in there, and we'll see who we can get the most people for.
Okay. Well, that's a bit weird, though. I mean, there's 5 of us. Come on. There's got to be enough to.
I think I've missed something like 2 or 3 in 5 years.
Something like that. But to be fair, we're both on the podcast where there's only 2 people there.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
with his own theme tune.
Just
really?
2.
Just the 2 of them.
If we try.
Oh, you don't want to break up a love like that.
I don't.
No, it's good to have somebody else, because I was generating to Terry Gilliam. Or have you watched American Gods?
I haven't yet.
Oh, watch it. Just watch it. It's so good.
I do want to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, isn't it? It's
Amazon Prime. Yes. What's really nice about it is they clearly telling the long story, because I reckon they use about 3 pages of the book to tell it to that first episode. It's so good.
I do like Neil Gaiman stuff. I mean, recently I've listened to the BBC audio play version of Neverwhere.
Yeah, that's pretty old. That was written first before the book. Oh no, the TV series before the book.
Yeah, the TV series, then the book, then the radio version.
Yeah,
because the radio version is the one that includes people like Anthony Stewart Head, and it's really good.
I think I've done all 3 Neverwhere. Yeah, I like the old.
There's actually a sequel to Neverwhere now as well, which is was it How the Marquis Got His Coat Back?
Okay.
Which I'll probably pick up when Audible refreshes at the end of the month.
I don't read anything more recently. I've kind of got off his stuff a bit more recently, but I like his old stuff. American Gods I love, and just to see them do what looks like it's going to be a 3 or 5 year story arc from the first episode, you go, this looks so good.
Well, I've got American Gods, I've just never got around to reading it. So
you don't know it? Oh wow, okay.
Right, I'm going to exfil. Mike, I'll see you next week. Kurt, take care.
You too.
And
I feel better.
I will probably go away as well, because I've got a headache.
I need to do this now.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
Right.
lovely broadcasting to you, you listener as well. We are going to just end the broadcast here, and we'll see you all for the next recording.
Bye.